Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Shermaine, aka Termingan, is coming at y'all with some more Halo 5 early access beta gameplay on the map Paul Pierce. And the footage is gonna skip just a little bit right there. Thankfully, she doesn't skip anymore throughout the rest of the video. And if you caught that reference, then you are my friend. Before I proceed with the main topic of the video, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to whatever you celebrate, because there is no discrimination around here on this channel. I hope that whatever you celebrate, whatever holidays you celebrate, that it brought you a lot of joy and a lot of happiness to be with your family, eat a lot of food, and just enjoy the comfort and the spirit of the holidays. You know, the spirit of Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. I really hope that everyone had a blast and really enjoyed themselves. And in this video, we're going to talk about why I think 2014 was the year of disappointment in video games. And speaking of disappointment, this match was kind of a disappointment. I was one of two people that had a positive KD, had over 2, but I could have done so much better. There was just a lot of times where you just run into double teams, or you die and you're just like, what the hell, and stupid shit. But I still had a blast playing the game. But so let's go ahead and get started. Why I think 2014, the rightful title, is the year of disappointment. Now, after the video is finished, I would appreciate it if you would like to share your own opinion on what you think, what title do you think this year deserves when we talk about video games. I would definitely like to hear a lot of people's opinions, because we're all gamers here. I doubt that most of us only bought one game and that's the only thing you know from this year. I myself have bought a shitload of games, so I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this year in gaming just because I have a large variety of games. So, like I said, I would definitely like to hear other people's opinions as well. So, to go ahead and get started, I think that there are a few main reasons, and then there's obviously, I'll evaluate on those reasons, to why 2014 was the year of disappointment. The first one was overhyped. So many games were touted as being amazing, groundbreaking, better than anything ever before, better than anything that's come out before. And it just wasn't like that, it just wasn't like that. Hype is such a good marketing tool, because you give people all these expectations, which is another reason in and of itself, all these expectations, all these hopes, and you just get these pre-orders out the ass. You get people already committed to buying your game without having to do much research, which, one, that's a bad thing to do. I definitely do my research beforehand. That grenade exploded under my balls. And when you get all those people interested without having to do any work, it's guaranteed money. They're gonna throw it right in your face, even though they might be throwing it at blind faith. And it's something that it works for developers. It's an easy way to get money, and a lot of people are leaning on it. A lot of developers and publishers are leaning on it, and it just helps them generate more revenue for themselves. And I mean, so many games were supposed to be miraculous, amazing, fantastic, better than anything you could have possibly imagined. The game of your dreams. For a lot of people, Titanfall didn't live up to their expectations. Definitely lived up to mine. But I'm not everybody. I'm only in a select minority, which is kind of sad. But games like Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare, I never had high expectations for the game in the first place, not at all, but I was hoping it'd be better, and it's improved very slightly. And I'm disappointed with this 3-year development cycle, air quotations, that only so little has been changed to the game, you know what I mean? To the game being as the formula of Call of Duty. And my biggest disappointment was Destiny, because I had so much hopes, so many hopes, I thought this game was gonna blow everything out the water. I thought, early predictions, oh my god, it's gonna win Game of the Year. And I watched so many videos on the creatures, all the lore that was presented before the game. I got super excited. I thought, oh my gosh, this could be a really amazing world to really dive into and learn everything about it. Everything about the Golden Age, about each individual expedition to certain planets, and how we were able to get to that point in the first place. And it was the biggest slap in the face that I've ever had the displeasure of experiencing. Just the description of the game, it talks about, in the first few words, is cinematic storytelling. That's a lie, because there's only 5 cinematics and a total of a minute and a half of cinematics. Add them all together, total time. little to no story. It was the biggest crock of shit that I've ever been spoon-fed, and sadly I bought a collector's edition. I bought the Digital Guardian edition, so they got almost $100 out of me, and I haven't even touched Dark Below or House of Wolves. I haven't even touched. I haven't turned on Destiny in months. But like I said, I think that's one of the reasons why this year's been disappointing, is because so many games haven't met our expectations. And the developers and publishers have just been, they've been fluffing them up, a whole lot of bullshit. And that's definitely something that I feel it hurts us as consumers, as gamers. And then the other thing that I mentioned was the expectations. With the promise of next gen, I mean, your expectations are extremely high, impossibly high to reach. The expectations just simply cannot be reached with the first year of experience, hands-on experience with these games or with this hardware and software. Things just cannot happen that quickly. And I feel like with overhype in combination with high expectations, it's just a recipe for disaster, because with next gen in mind, you should think of games that were not possible, games that cannot be made with previous gen, just previous gen as a whole, software, hardware, all that good stuff, all that comprises previous gen. These games should not be possible without the new technology, and with new technology comes new and innovative things that range from anything you can think of to what is in a game, how a game can be made, what the maximum capabilities of a game are, all kinds of stuff like that. And when you think those things are going to be met right off the bat with only less than a year of this experience, but you hear all this stuff about, yes, Xbox One and PS4 only came out approximately a year ago, or actually a month and a year ago, whatever, November, I don't fucking remember. But then again, you say, oh, these games have been in development for 2 to 3 years prior to those coming out, so they already had the software and the hardware. So at the same time, then they did have plenty of time to work with all that stuff. So you would expect better than what you got. Destiny, i.e., and other games that fit that description for you as well, for y'all as well. And it was just unfortunate. It was just unfortunate that a lot of things were promised, and a lot of things were not in games. They were lies upon lies, built upon falsehoods, and you get fed that. Pre-orders come rolling in, companies make money. That's just how it is. But like I was saying about high expectations, with next gen, we should expect great games that could not be created with last gen software, hardware, all that stuff. That's how it should be. But even in the beginning, you had so many games that were supposed to be running at 1080p and 60 frames per second. I'm not a really big guy on 60 frames per second, I'm not just a frames per second kind of guy. I'm not really big on specs, but you should expect games to run at the maximum capacity. If 1080p 60 frames per second is the maximum capacity, then they should run at that. And there were so many games that didn't, and that were promised to run at that. That's another falsehood. Another falsehood, lies built upon falsehoods and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. And one of the reasons, it's not very big reasons, but I just think like not very many games were released. And there was a lot of delays. Witcher 3 got delayed, Dying Light got delayed, Arkham Knight got delayed, and many other games. Ori and the Blind Forest got delayed as well till 2015. I don't mind delays really, because if you need extra time to make sure your game is finished and polished, hey, take all the time you need. That's just not something very big, but I feel like when you don't have so many games, you have only a handful, then there's not a whole lot that stick out, There's not a whole lot that stick out from the pack. But when you have a lot of games, you have a lot in that basket, in the basket of apples. There's a lot. There's going to be good ones, there's going to be bad ones, but for the most part, I feel like the more games come out, the better. Because there's more experiences, then there's more trial and error. You can figure out, okay, this worked for this company, okay, yeah, this was pretty good for this company, we'll take little bits of here and there and then put it into our game, or help create our game, and hopefully it'll be better. Hopefully we will learn from the mistakes of everyone else and see what worked and what didn't work, and it will work out for us. And the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is the way modern game design works nowadays. It goes like this. You sell the pre-orders built upon your falsehoods and lies that you will sell to the consumer. then you sell an unfinished game, then you patch it near completion and sell the final parts as DLC. That's how modern game design works. That's how it works for Destiny. That's how it works for Advanced Warfare and plenty of other games. I will post it's a little funny picture that I'm reading off of, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. But thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think. My name is Shermaine. I'm out. Peace. Have a good day.